welcome to episode 2 of the Ladies Wot Pod. Good afternoon, Liz.
Good afternoon, Claire.
Yeah. So I suppose first off, we need to say thank you to everybody for all the great feedback that we've had from the first pod. Which we said we'd be back, and here we are. But it's been great. Even people were shouting at me nice things from the terraces at Welford Road. So and you don't get that very often. So thank you. And Liz and I. No. Liz and I are thoroughly enjoying doing it, and hence why we're back again. And we might be in slightly more high def video because so less soup this week.
I like soup.
We believe.
I like soup. It doesn't show
that's
the
true.
laughter lines when you're soupy.
Well, no, you look lovely. And I have to say, one of the questions I got for you very early on is cleaning news, because you said that during the game on Saturday, and it looks like you've been busy.
I've tidied up a bit so that it doesn't,
You have?
It looks neat. I remember in lockdown when people were always interviewed in front of their bookcases, and you'd spend all your time not listening to what they were saying, because you were trying to read what books they got on show and thinking, you were trying
to work out. We see, I've still got the photo, the greatest scrum ever, up there.
Oh yes.
There, you see.
Yeah, I'm still behind that as well. But, so I tidied up, and cleaning news. Well, during the game, obviously, there wasn't a settee big enough, really, to watch from behind for that, and so I made pikelets in the kitchen and then clean the kitchen. Pikelets it's something my husband loves. Pikelets for breakfast, and they're just this sounds so Waitrose, isn't it? And they've just become so expensive in Waitrose, and they don't sell them anywhere else. So I thought I'd have a go at making some. And my first effort, he said they were all right, but there was a bit of a domestic over them, because he thought he knew something about cooking, so that was a bit difficult. And then so I made some more.
What was wrong with them? I have to ask.
The wrong shape, apparently. It's a bit like something from Faulty Towers. These chips are the wrong shape. What shape would you like? Because he says, when you buy them, they're round. When you buy them, they've not been touched by a human hand. I don't know. Anyway, they were much better this week. So much more uniform.
Much more uniform, improved pikelets. Okay,
yes.
So
it gave me
and the sofa wasn't big enough to hide behind.
No,
so you've got quite a big sofa, I seem to remember.
Yeah, but it's not a very big room. I can't move it out far enough to get behind. That's the problem. When you're small and it's Doctor Who, it was a lot easier. But yeah. So so that's what that I felt. At least I'd done something positive on Saturday afternoon, which
Yes. Well, more of that shortly. So just to finish off our thanks, we are really grateful for all the great feedback we had. And we've got lots planned. We've been talking a lot. Liz and I have been WhatsApping, as you do, and we've got lots of thoughts about what we can do based on your feedback.
Yes.
Based on your feedback, and shrubberies will be small or large, maybe installed, maybe planted. So, right. Well, I suppose we better get crack on and talk about that place. I mean, we've all sort of started with your cleaning and pikelet news. I think that might become a feature. Well, I was there, of course, and it was flipping dark because somebody turned out the lights in Leicester and was like, what the hell? It was, I know it's November, I have noticed the date, but it was bizarre. It was like it was 8 o'clock at night, not 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was very weird. So it gave everything a sort of gloomy feel. And I had to do my usual try and stay out the line of the TV camera because, as we talked about last week, the pitch side at Welford Road is quite tight. At least I didn't have to sit on the ground this time. We did an experiment with the one of my favourite TV cameramen in the corner, and he was very nice. Could you just move back a bit? And I sort of blended into the advertising, so I didn't have to sit on the ground. But it was just my question is, why were they so nervous? So if you remember the first sort of, some of us I know are trying to blot it out, but first few minutes, George had a bit of a moment. Mitch got so where we were assured and we knew what we were doing. It was like, oh, hello, what's going on here? The grey matter was not functioning, so it was very strange. It didn't get much better, really, until the second half.
If I was sharing the same pitch as Carl Dixon, I would have been nervous.
Oh, I put that down to about 2 seconds before you got to him.
I know. I spent it, can't say anything nice, but I mean,
yeah, it wasn't. Sir was Sir. Yeah, Sir was Sir. We of course had him in the semi-final,
and in a similar fixture at the Gardens last year,
and the equivalent at the Gardens, and none of them went well.
When
and
Stephen Jones
he took a Guinness scrum then. Excuse me,
as Stephen Jones said about Steve Borthwick taking over at Tigers, well, he's wrought a miracle if he can convince a referee that Tigers are whiter than white, which is obviously what had happened. So,
and they were all wearing their disability cloaks. Absolutely, it happened again. Actually, I thought it was interesting because I have watched the match back, and that's unusual for me. If we lose, I feel like, you know what, I've had to go through it all twice anyway when I go through the photos. Do I really want to sit down in front of the TV? But I did this time because I genuinely wanted to know what the hell was going on in the scrums. And I'm none the wiser, apart from the fact that clearly TNT Sports had spotted a Matt Ferguson going absolutely ballistic on the touchline. It was like, oh, something's going on the ground. Let's have a look at Fergs. Oh, yeah, he's lost it. He's not happy. There's much arm waving. There's much, which is not, you don't normally see Ferg. He gets, he shouts a bit. And it is funny when he and Tom Bullock are shouting at the end of the game when I go for a trundle round and I sit there for the last 5 minutes in the technical area. The number of times I go, oh, sorry, Claire. It's like, you don't need to apologise for swearing, really. But I got the feeling there was a lot of rude words during the game. And I'm still none the wiser what he was on about. Carl Dixon, that is, rather than Fergs.
Well, yes, I don't think anybody knew what Carl Dixon was on about. That one of the things in the scrum, one of the commentators, and I can't remember if it was on the radio or on the television, was saying about the Leicester prop was very long in the leg, so it looked like it was Al who was collapsing the scrum when actually it wasn't. It was So that could have been what Ferg.
And they were going early every time, so I think that was because of course I see movement, and they actually ironically gave a penalty for us for engaging early when they'd moved first, and Alex was stood there still with the ball in his hand, Mitchell, as opposed to, it's like, what, sir? We haven't moved. So yeah. Right. And then of course there was that incident. So to go 2 men down was a bit daft. In fact, I think most of the crowd didn't know that Saints were down to 13, and it didn't sound like TNT Sports knew either. No. My husband's comment, Tim's comment, was, well, we only knew something had happened because Beef walked past us. So we knew always, and nobody walked back the other way. So it's like, okay. So down to 13, and yet we scored, we scored once. And then something else happened.
Yeah.
What happened, Liz?
Well, young Henry Pollock, 18 years old, I thought played very cleverly, kept his hands out of the way to move the ball on with it was his knee, actually. I don't think he meant to use his knee, but that was what happened. And Freebo got on the end of it and scored. That's what I thought had happened.
Straight in front of me!
There was one man.
Aim for the hat, yeah.
There was one man in the ground who didn't think that was what had happened, who saw a knock on. Unfortunately, that one man was Carl Dixon, and rather than letting the play run on and going back to check, decided to blow up further knock on that even Austin Healy said was not a knock on. Now, somebody said at a meeting I was at last night, I feel we're setting the bar rather low if we're judging things by what Austin Healey said. But as I pointed out, well, it was just one end of the spectrum, really, that you have to take into, if it's that bad that Austin Healey says it wasn't, when he will give us won't give us an inch, then it was a very, very dodgy call. Very dodgy call. Is my diplomatic way of putting it, or just plain wrong.
Yes, and Fremo absolutely scored, and I would have been in clover, as would Lewis, one of the media team who sat next to me, because it all unfolded beautifully in front, and it was a wonderful move started by George Furbank, and the pace of Henry was extraordinary, and Fremo being on his shoulder, and we had a umpteen man overlap, so there's no call that Tigers could have got back, and it would have swung the game because we'd have scored twice in 2 or 3 minutes. It would have been a real momentum shift. Saying that, OR breakdown. So I think losing the personnel that we did in the middle of the week had an effect. You can't lose one of the best back rowers in the business in Courtney Laws, and a man such as the player that is Angus Scott Young and the season he's had, without it having an effect. And Sam Graham, of course. And the back row looked a bit unbalanced, I think would be the way I describe it.
I think so.
It didn't, and it manifested itself in the breakdown, didn't it?
It did, and then Lewis, bless him, tries to do everything himself, and he can't. And it just, the wheels came slightly off, and they, in Jasper Visa and Rafael, the Tiger.
Tommy Rafael,
yeah, Tommy Rafael. I mean, they've got experts in the dark arts of the breakdown, shall we say? And comments I have seen by people who know far more than me, possibly, but may well have had gold, black, and green sunglasses on at the time. That those chaps must have friction burns on their elbows, though, which doesn't imply that they were holding their own weight, really. But, who knows?
I think Rafael was given far too much latitude by our pack. I mean, he's going to nick ball. It's what he does. It's what he's famed for. Jasper Visa, on the other hand, I actually found quite funny. He became my pantomime villain because the Leicester faithful thought we'd half killed him, and we hadn't. So there was much baying for blood. And then he proceeded for the next few minutes, in fact, quite a long time, to truck up the ball at great pace. And yes, he made some distance, but usually he coughed up the ball. So he made 10, 15 metres and then dropped the ball. There was only one occasion when I thought, oh, actually, you have made progress. But usually he lost his temper, and it was to our benefit. But we didn't take our chances, really, when we should have done. And,
But no, upwards and onwards. We'll put that one to bed. Say, fantastic. Again, just one more thing that I noticed, that George Hendy, Mr. Livewire himself, was opposite Josh Bassett, and there's actually a 10-year age gap there. 10 years between them.
Yeah.
And and then we get
the assured one was Hendo. It wasn't Josh Bassett by any means.
And bringing on when I think I'd also worked out something ridiculous, like Ben Youngs was only 12 years younger than the combined ages of our halfbacks. I was a bit bored at times.
Yeah, well, it really wasn't a game to light up.
No. So anything, I thought that really was another interesting fact. And I still think, Henry Pollock, what a Premiership debut, really. What a.
I can only agree.
And what a talent! My goodness me, 18.
What a talent!
18.
And he in the warm up, he was warming up in front of me, and he was sort of bouncing around like all these Christmases had come at once, and he was singing. He was singing along to the DJ. Anyone who's been to Welford Road know the DJ, all the hits, Tony Blackburn, and 1960s, 70s, and 80s are played to the fore. So Henry, bless him, would have been minus 25, nearly 30, when some of the tunes that he was singing were playing. But he was there, Chaka Khan, Sister Sledge. He was singing along to him, bless him, as he warmed up. So, but yeah, fabulous again. Another product of the Saints Academy coming through. It was such a big game.
Yeah. I think our academy for the past 10 years, I suppose, really has been worth its weight in gold, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's our stated aim, and we talked about it last week. And yeah, absolutely, here's another one off the production line.
Yeah,
and ahead of his years already. Under 20 captain, winning. With the infamous interview on Sky. But and he was only 8. Well, God knows how old he was when he did that. But he's remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal young man. So very glad he's ours.
Yeah.
So
Get
so
your
that
hands
was
off anybody else.
Yeah. So that was then, and we look forward to a swift turnaround, and we entertain Harlequins, who, as in, there's always somebody worse off than you. Poor old Quins, mightily stuffed.
Yeah, and absolutely. Are you getting messages?
I'm getting messages.
Somebody messaging you.
Nothing
was it
important.
me? Was it me? I don't know.
No, it's not you. No, it's
no, nothing important. But I don't know. The bat phone is whirring.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, what have I done? Yes. So poor old Quins. Yeah, at home. I mean, we have had Dr. Jones wisely said, well, we've seen that happen at the Gardens with us and Saracens. Yes, but it's still painful. So they will be really sore. They will be really sore. Which makes for a good game on Friday, I think.
I hope so. Friday night lights as well, and hopefully.
Well, I'm looking slightly windswept because I've just come back from training, so so the lads, and it was sunny for about 10 minutes, and then this big black cloud came over, and the light went out. It's like, oh yes, it's November, but no, lots of energy.
Training?
Lots of energy. Yeah, no, it wasn't just Henry Pollock. No, it was good to see. Lots going on, as you would imagine. And still playing with that same pace, Sam Vesti, getting them moving. Lots of whistle from Lee Radford. Lee is famed for his whistle. And it was busy this afternoon, so that was good to see. It was good to see Courts is back, so he was training.
Yes, good.
This afternoon. Good. So I don't know how his, whatever they call to play protocols for his HIA, his concussion symptoms is gone, but he was definitely training this afternoon. So that was good to see. Lewis running around like a mad thing. So
Lewis.
We wait and see. But I do like doing the early training in the week, and of course it's a short week this week because
very short. Yeah.
They barely come back and they're straight into the game. So yes, and of course it'll be the same for Quins. It's not as if they have an advantage because they don't.
No, and I was going to say I was glad to see that that humility mantra that Saracens have at their ground is still working so well by their official tweets. Yeah.
Yeah, there is Bristol Bears get it are the ones who get it right. When they had their team selection and it was 15 gummy bears, they're the ones who've got the level of humour absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Saracens seem to be a bit off because they had that very strange and rather awkward. Well, no, they meant it. Tweet about Gloucester when they beat Gloucester at Kingsholm. And the silence in the shed.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what happened at Quinn? You just think you don't need to do it, guys. You really don't need to do it. So I don't know whether they are trying to turn themselves into the Millwall of rugby, but they're succeeding at the minute. Everybody hates us. We don't care.
It's not something you expect from the official tweet. You can almost accept it from supporters, rivals, but it's what some supporters do. You know, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a Tigger, and he said, "Oh, there's something special about beating Saints," and I said, "Yeah, there's something special about losing to Tigers." But we then had quite a nice, you know, exchange of views, because he said he felt quite deflated when he left the ground. And I said, "Well, you'd have been more deflated if you'd have only beaten Newcastle, then, really, wouldn't you?" So we had a nice discussion, and that's acceptable, because it's not, Tigers didn't put that out. You know, there has to be.
Oh yes, we had lots of worry. Your cough has just reminded me. Sorry to interrupt you about people were worried about your health. How are you feeling, Mrs.?
I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fine. I've just got a bit of.
Is Liz okay? Was the question I got asked.
Oh bless. Yes, no, I'm fine, and I've taken Chris Hood, one of our friends, commented on the YouTube comments that I probably needed G&T. I have taken G&T. I just got.
What, this afternoon already? Gosh, that's very good.
Not today.
She starts early, folks.
I think the sun's over the yard arm. It is November.
Oh, where are you?
Yeah, so we'll probably have this irritating little cough till about March, because it's winter and I get catarrh, and that's all it is. Feeling fine. So just bunged up.
So everybody, she's fine.
I think it's also knocking around with two small germ factories that known as the grandsons, you know, that
yes,
they're of an age, especially the little one.
Oh, how are the under nines?
The under nines are fine. I think he just did training on Sunday, but he's still loving it. And the under 60s are doing fine as well. That's even less controlled than the under nines, but.
Well, that's running around madly, going after bits of plastic called tags, isn't it? The ball doesn't really come into it. It's
the under 60s. There's
after the tags.
4 of them from the same class. So yes, they're just they don't. I don't think they take any notice of any of the other kids. They're just either wrestling, tackling, or cuddling at any one time, and we're never sure what it is they're doing, but that's what they're doing. So. And in fact, 2 of the 4, one of which was my grandson, managed to headbutt each other in maths the other morning. So,
oh yes, they definitely are rugby players in the making. So very good,
definitely
very
props.
Good. Well,
definitely props.
This is Toaster Rugby Club, so shout out to Toaster.
Yeah. Toaster.
Let me see if I remember. It's my coloured jumper and yellow. Is that right?
Burgundy and yellow. Yeah.
Burgundy and yellow.
Yeah, it probably has.
I'm sure that yellow's called something sophisticated.
I was going to say I probably completely mislabelled the colours there, but that's maroon and gold or something. But
isn't it only that is French grey and cerise or something? They get very upset if you get it wrong.
That's only, isn't it? French grey and cerise.
Only.
Not pink.
Yeah, woe betide you say pink and grey.
Yeah, they get quite upset. So the little is doing well, which leads me onto the other end of the spectrum in the rugby world that Saints have launched and I have signed up for. Walking rugby, where you have to be old to qualify. And the Saints have got a taster session next week on Thursday, the 30th. I don't know if there's any spaces.
In the High Performance Centre.
In the High Performance Centre. You have to have rugby boots. Curiously.
Where are the boots? Are they available? Can we see them? Have you got them to hand?
They're in the other room.
In the other room. Well, so we need to see. When is this taster session?
30th, week on Thursday. So we can see. I can unveil the boots next week. So,
I think next week we need to see the boots. We definitely need to see the boots.
They're quite
very
funky.
Good. Very good. And what length stud have you gone for?
I don't know. Well, whatever was available.
Let's not get technical.
Cheap. I think they're soft ground.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I wasn't given an option of length of stud. I was confused because I thought we'd probably need high performance slippers, being as the only qualification was that you were old. And but no, we need boots. So there's been a run on boots for old people. So I will feedback on that.
Boots
but I think we've sort of going from one extreme to the other there.
Well, it's definitely spreading because, of course, here in Cambridgeshire, it's a bit far to travel to the gardens for that. So hubby has found that there is Cambridge are running a walking rugby.
Excellent.
It's not a taster session; it's actually a session, and so he's been tempted to go down to see the blood and sand. I'm hoping that we don't see either, and try out for Cambridge. I'm looking forward to Cambridge versus Northampton Saints at Walking Rugby. It'll be the world's slowest photos that I ever take if it happens. But it'll be great fun.
I think that we'll need a whole other talent for that. I'm looking forward to that. That could be quite a grudge match, I feel.
It could be. It could be. Yes.
I don't think
we need to make it happen.
I don't think he's forgiven me for the golf yet. So.
Yeah, well, the girls won fair and square.
Yeah.
Yes.
Twice.
Yeah, we've got to get back out there because the boys are getting upset because they haven't had a chance to replay that. But we aren't a golf podcast. But you're right, we do need to sort that. And yes, so walking rugby. So we need a full report when you've done the taster session. And will Liz actually, be captaining the first Northampton Saints walking rugby team to glory this season?
I don't. I've enough on my plate, to be honest. I don't want to. Give me team talks as well.
Oh, but can you imagine it? Oh, it's just awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Can't wait. Lifting the trophy. East Midlands champions. Talking of East. Should we mention that TV programme again?
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Well, so they get points this week because they did actually mention that Saints were playing this weekend, so that was good, and even featured Graham's interview with Dowse at the end of the game. So well done. But the starting reference point was guess who? Oh yes, man of Norfolk, man of Holt, Ben Youngs.
Oh.
Dear BBC, everything that happens in the East region doesn't have to reference Ben Youngs and Leicester Tigers. Could you just please drop it? So, yeah, they got points. And they also got points.
Oh, yes.
Because they mentioned Bedford Blues, who are playing Cambridge. Back to Cambridge again. It's all, this weekend at Goldington Road.
But is it because there's not much is it because there's not much football on because they've been internationals?
Well, sadly for the East region, we don't have, apart from Luton, who aren't really troubling the scorer. I know too much here. It was all about Norwich, who were in a bit of a bother, and Ipswich, who are doing really well, and some bunch called Stevenage. And there was another bloke that got interviewed because he's just taken over somewhere, and he lives in Saffron Walden. Yeah, there was a lot of football. Don't worry. Yeah, the EFL provided most of the content. We didn't have any trampolining this week. No trampolining news in the East region.
The rugby was the minority.
We did have arm wrestling instead.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. So, well done to Look East. You're getting better, but more to do. Less Tigers, more Saints, more Bedford.
So
maybe they'll even send a camera.
When Ben Youngs finally retires...
To Goldington Road. What are they going to do?
Well, that's it. That's the end of rugby as we know it in the East.
Yeah. Ooh. My computer's just making funny noises. Yeah.
So, yes.
Right.
So, Look East.
So we don't just throw this show together, by the way, folks. We do actually have a running order. I'm just going to go and look at it. Camera update. Can I have a moan?
Oh, yes.
I've had plenty of moans already. Can I have another one?
You can.
Camera update is the floodlights at Welford Road.
Yeah. Not good.
Two different sorts. Old ones on the top of the crumbly. I don't care what they call it. It's the crumbly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the new ones on the huge great monolith on the other side. They're different systems. So cameras... This week, sometimes it's purple, but this year it was yellow. So everybody looked like they had a severe case of jaundice. Now, it's not as if I'm using some cheap camera. So, and I did check with some of my fellow togs who are going, oh yeah, it's Welford Road. So yeah, please, Welford Road, please, Leicester Tigers, can you get decent lights? You know, you are a Premiership club. You can afford to pay for decent LED lights.
You can't afford, can they?
Well, clearly.
That's the problem.
Well, they should have a whip round. They should have a whip round.
Funding.
Because even if you looked at the TV footage, it was incredibly dark. That second half, at the on the right, we were obviously playing left to right in the second half. At that far end, it was almost pitch black. It was terrible. So yes, please, can we do something about it? And yeah, all the tries were somewhere else, and the one I thought I got wasn't given. Yeah, it was a bit of a photography wise.
Yeah. So,
but this afternoon.
Apart from that, Mrs. Lincoln, did you enjoy the play?
Yes. No. Yes, it's not good. Not good in many aspects. But we move on. And this afternoon's training did warm the cockles of my heart again.
Does it brighten you up? Do you feel a bit more?
It does it is brightened me up, and having a good chat with the likes of Kev Buckby and Lizzie Goodchild, who's the team manager. For those of you who haven't met Lizzie, she is a wonderful woman, and yeah, that cheered me up no end.
Talking of Kev,
what
on Look East?
Yes.
I think it was Look East, or was it Anglia? One or the other had Tom Pearson going to his uncle's farm and doing things with sheep. I say doing things, that sounds dodgy, but, helping look after the sheep.
So, I was going to say, and what are you telling us about Mr. Pearson here?
Well, I'm just thinking that Kev has got a fellow sheep person to talk to them now.
Indeed. I haven't ever seen them discussing sheep. So this is, absolutely, we need to ask Kev.
Apparently Tom Pearson's uncle is a farmer somewhere in the county, which is one of the reasons why he chose to come to us. And he has sheep. So I'm just thinking that Kev must feel all his Christmases have come at once. Somebody who understands sheep.
And a fellow sheep farmer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kev, as I said, Kev's only comment to me this afternoon about sheep, because he always has to have one, was he got his phone out and showed me two, what I can only describe as enormous sheep, and said, this is going to be expensive this weekend. I'm hoping he meant he's going to buy these sheep rather than anything else, because apparently it's a market. So if Kev's looking slightly, crestfallen, anyone bumps into him on Sunday, it's because he's bought two very expensive sheep. So there you go. Yeah. And I think Tupping or whatever it has.
I was going to say, I think they were probably rams, were they? It's probably best just to draw a line.
I'm not sure that these two were. The ram, I'd actually, a couple of weeks ago, I said, so has the ram had his cigars and brandy? To which Kev's comment was twice. So there you go. He was a happy ram, apparently.
Excellent.
He's been busy. So it's going to be several weeks before we get any further sheep news. But,
we'll keep you updated on the sheep news, chaps.
We will keep you updated on the sheep news, because it's really... You don't get this on the BBC.
Don't get this on any other rugby podcast. So you have some moans this week. So
I have some moans, and I wonder what your thought on my moans. So one of my moans, we're back to refereeing again. I do apologise, but it would be good to talk to a referee, because I don't get advantage anymore. I don't get knock-on advantage, and I don't get a penalty advantage, because it used to be, let's do knock-ons. If you got over the gain line, advantage over, off you go. A couple of times on Saturday, but it's not only Saturday. It's like they've made 20, 30 yards, and it's like, oh, well, you kick the ball away. Have another go. And it's like, no, he elected to kick.
Yeah.
And it was, as much to us. So I don't get that. But the one that really gets me is it doesn't really matter if you commit a penalty offence in your own half. It's basically, let's just wait until they score. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have how many umpteen, phases, and it's like, oh, you were so close. Why don't we go? You can kick to the corner, or you can kick for 3 points, because it really wasn't fair. And it killed us. This, because we were a bit silly on. Well, no, we're not going to that again. So advantage. There is no such thing as advantage. It's actually how many points are you going to get? Are you going to get a 3, or are you going to get a 5 with an opportunity of 2? And no. I know we want to encourage attacking, but there's no jeopardy anymore. You had to make a choice. Are we going to run it and take a risk?
Yeah.
Or, are we actually going to take the penalty when Sir says, do you want the penalty? And off we go. Advantage just seems to be an opportunity for a team deciding, how many points they're going to have.
That it goes on forever. Penalty advantage, as you say, just seems to go through phase after phase after phase after phase until something happens, either the side with the advantage scores, or there's something else, and they come and we'll go back for the penalty. And even when it's your side, you think, that has gone on a bit. What? I've forgotten. People have been born, had lives, and died since that penalty happened. Just
you finished that sleeve that you were battling with earlier. You're sewing.
The leg, yeah.
Oh, was it a leg? Oh, it was trousers, wasn't it? So I got the wrong appendage.
Yeah.
So that's me big. That's me big moan. Can we go back to? I realise there has to be some advantage because you committed some sort of offence. But seriously, and when it happens in the 5, the red zone, as they're now calling it, it's just like, oh, for God's sake, just decide, just get on with it. And then when it's close to the end of the game, again, it loses the jeopardy for me, and it's just bonkers.
Now, on reflection, I can't remember the last time. Knock-on advantage slightly different. That does get called over. But penalty advantage, I can't really remember the last time I heard advantage over.
I heard over. Yeah, I can't. Because it just doesn't happen now.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. They always pull it back, and then you kick to the corner, or you attempt the post, or occasionally you run it. If it's a tap penalty in the red zone. So it's changed into something that I'm sure that wasn't what the lawmakers meant all those years ago when they brought it in, and it's ruined the game. The jeopardy was, if you don't execute well, you're going to lose it, and that actually was part of the sport.
Yeah,
but we've lost it.
Yeah,
because we've got to let them score somehow. So that was gripe number 1. Do you want gripe number 2?
Number 2, I think you're probably pushing against an open door with this one as well, but go on.
So I was hoping with our new, but it afflicts ITV as well and the BBC I was hoping that when we got TNT Sports, we'd get away from this need to reference club rugby against the international. Every player on the pitch is assessed as to whether he should be in the England squad. And it's like, can we just enjoy the sport for what it is? Club rugby for what it is. It doesn't have to be that, I don't know, Henry Pollock or whoever should be in the England squad.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse because I am dreading next season when we're in the build-up to the British and Irish Lions tours. It's like that. Yes. It's just like it's going to be endless because then it affects every game because you've got all the European games polluted by it. So please, broadcasters, can we have at least a few games where you don't make any mention of the England squad? We've just got out the World Cup, for goodness sake. Please, can we enjoy club rugby for club rugby's sake? And it could be, you could have a debate about, is he going to get in the Saints squad? Whoever, obviously he's playing that day. But you could say to Henry, what does Henry Pollock have to do to get a regular starting position in Saints? Is actually an interesting question. Rather than, when do you think he'll be in the England squad? Well, I think about 2026, but who knows?
But it's that thing, this modern day thing, it seems, where you miss out all the hard work. You go from being nobody to being famous by being on some reality show, or you just miss out all the 10,000 hours that you have to work at something before. And that seems to be, ignored and forgotten, and the expectation that somebody is going to burst on the club scene and be playing international rugby the following spring and be all up to speed with it, and then people fail and people's confidence is shot, and injuries happen.
And the problem we've got is it's going to get worse because a number of players have retired.
Yeah.
And, you're going to have who's going to be the replacement X. And I get it. After Christmas, fine, because we're in the build-up to the Six Nations. But not now. We've just got through a flipping World Cup. Yeah. Can we enjoy club rugby for what it is? Because as a sport, it needs pushing. We do not need to push England all the time, or Scotland, or France, or Ireland, who've also got big changes ahead of them. That will happen naturally after Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. And we need
TNT.
The club element really
Shut
pushing.
up about England.
Yes, please do. Just as an aside, and thinking about players retiring and players moving on, Maro Itoje, rumours are he's looking for somewhere else to go. Where do you think he might pitch up?
Well, if he believes he's the value that rumours say, which involves, I believe, 7 figures, he's going to have to go somewhere else. He's going to have to head over. I mean, it is really his choice of his England career, or does he get? I mean, it's not 6-figure sums. They're not exactly, but less than he's getting now is the rumour. Half of what he's getting now is the rumour, and so there's some horrible decisions. Yeah, there's some horrible decisions to be made, but. That's the nature of a salary cap. And, who knows? That's his problem.
Yeah. Interesting. I read somewhere, but I don't even know if it was a legitimate source, about there were 4 clubs interested in him. And I was just trying to think, that'd be Bath and Bristol. I'm thinking, who's got the money?
But the salary cap headroom as well. Because if it's Bath, you're only allowed 1 marquee player, and that must be Finn Russell.
Yes.
Who's on that Magic. Rumour says he's on that Magic. I've got no idea, by the way. This is all made up. But anyway, rumour has it he's on that Magic 7-figure sum. So, how do you stay within, the salary cap if the marquee player's already gone?
Interesting.
Could be Bath. Bristol, likewise, the same question. He's not going to come to us, that's for sure. Laughs hysterically. And that's not... partly because you'd kill him. Can you imagine Lis versus Maro Itoje? It's not a fair fight, really, is it?
It's not. There's nothing against the lad. I mean, no, I haven't.
Yes,
I don't know him. It just seems. Unfortunately, I feel he believed his own publicity. That's my feeling of him, and that he's set himself up as a thinker and a philosopher and a poet. And you think, well, if you were that deep thought, did you not look around that changing room and think, how on earth is all this happening within the salary cap?
And maybe he didn't care because he was winning.
Exactly.
That's one thing you never
I think that's probably
what the motivation's going to be.
But no, I wish him well wherever he goes, really.
Yes, I wish him well. And despite his, I think, quite poor World Cup, I think as Saracens managed to find, because he somehow found his form when he went back to Saracens. If he can find his form again, he is a brilliant rugby player.
Yes,
but he just hasn't been able to do it in an England shirt for a while.
No, I
but
agree.
He seems to be playing very well for those people down the road.
Yeah, or as somebody said, was that for his highlights reel, which I thought was a little bit jaundiced.
I think his highlights reel's got quite a lot in it already. Yes.
Anyway, moving
yes, if you want the latest, because he's wearing the latest shirt. Anyway, moving on to any SSC news, Saint Supporters Club news?
Yes, Saint Supporters Club news. We had a meeting with Mark Darwin last night, because just to try and keep or get or keep an open dialogue with the club as to what direction they'd like us to move in, where we see us moving, because we are really trying to make it a relevant club. So now lots of ideas swilling around, which can't really talk about because they're still at the idea stage. They're not even made it onto the drawing board yet. So, but watch this space, particularly with regard to away games. There could be some exciting news coming out about those. But that's it really. But yeah, excellent. So we continue to move on, and we will need more committee members who want to come and do things. So if anybody has got any bright ideas of how they think they can help support this new improved supporters club, please get in touch and join. Go onto the website and join, please, because any money raised through subscriptions, that helps us run the coaches and buy the necessary things, and any surplus is then donated to the wheelchair and the foundation. So please join.
Brilliant.
And you get money off your coach trips. So that's
the great news is yes, and it's great that you're also supporting the wheelchair rugby guys. They had most of the team had their headshots last week. Because they, I think I mentioned, so they've all had their headshots, so they're basically being cut out, the way they do to put them on the website. So you should be able to meet several members of the team, and we're hoping to interview one of them.
We are
bring
hoping
him onto the show, aren't we?
Get one onto the show, yeah, at least one.
Yeah. So. Excellent. So hopefully we can do that soon. So it sounds like the Saints Supporters Club is going from strength to strength, and it's great that there is that connection with the club, because it's really important that
it was
I think you should bring back the shed, the supporters club shed.
No, we've made a start with a market with a tent, haven't we?
Yes, but I think you need walls now. Bring back the shed. Those of you who don't know, the supporters club used to have a shed. It was at the top end of the ground, and it features in quite a few of the photos of the old terrace. Predates the Sturtridge, the garden shed. I don't know what was in the garden shed. That's not clear. But you did have a shed. I want to know what happened to the shed. So where is it?
I'm guessing.
I was thinking, is it like the 3-wheeler? It's in a scrapyard somewhere.
I doubt it. What was in the shed was probably something prosaic like raffle tickets.
Yes, the days of the raffle tickets.
The days of the raffle tickets.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy days.
Yes.
So yes.
Happy days. So we're on to Harlequins.
We are
this
on
Friday.
Harlequins. Yeah.
It should be a belter of a game. If you've got two teams, unlike Saturday, which felt a bit like walking through glue, and that was one of the frustrations for me. I'm going back again, but I'm going to say it now. We kind of let them put their game plan on us, and it frustrates me when we do that. But you've got two teams who kind of want to play the same way. Open, expansive rugby, and it'll be fun to see how they play. I mean, as usual with Quins, they've scored some absolutely ridiculous tries. Tyrone Green, what are you on?
That was
diving in the corner like that.
Yeah. Well, it's actually impossible.
But they're the entertainers,
Yeah.
A bit like us, they're the entertainers. So hopefully two teams that want to entertain. It's the second time, a bit like the last time we were talking. This is another game that we played this year already at the Gardens. It was the New Year's game, I think. New Year. So I don't think they enjoy coming to the Gardens, which is fine by me. But they do play a brilliant, expansive game of rugby, and they do have a forwards coach, a scrum coach with the best hair in English rugby, in Adam Jones. We love Fergs. Fergs in his hats, but he can't claim to have the best hair.
No,
I mean Adam Jones is going to win that one, hands down.
Absolutely.
So it will be interesting to see, that ball fizz around the place. I'm just hoping the weather holds. We don't need high winds or gale, high winds or gales, the same thing, Claire, or rain, because that'll just ruin the spectacle. We want a flat track,
crisp,
not too much of a breeze, and let's go
dry,
for it.
Cold. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
We don't want wet and windy.
No.
I
mean, the pitch will look amazing because it always does. It'll be an amazing surface to play on.
In some ways, love coming to the Gardens because the pitch is so fantastic to play on. But it's not been a happy hunting ground for them for a couple of years, has it? And was it the one?
No, not since.
Did we manage to sneak a win in the dying minutes last? Well, we did with James Grayson. Was that a couple of seasons ago?
No, it was a cricket score. The last game we absolutely pummeled them.
Yes, yeah.
And no, you see there's my little
it's
thumbs up sign
again. I haven't got Apple, so I just look like a yes.
Seriously, I don't know how to make that happen, but it's random. No, the New Year's Day game we absolutely pummeled them, and there was the we're really sorry we didn't turn up speeches afterwards. No, it was the previous game in May that was it May? Yeah, it was a sort of wasn't it a Friday evening game again where James had the kick to win it and he absolutely slotted it. So it was then.
Yeah, which I think sealed out full place, didn't it? Yeah. Their trajectory has been very similar to ours in that, when we were all swilling around in the bottom, they went down a couple of seasons before we did, and likewise won it a couple of seasons before we did in the sort of 10 years ago. So we can only hope that we are following a similar trajectory and we can get to win it again. Would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'd love that. But let's hope that we get a great game and we get two teams who go at each other hammer and tongs, and we get the ball fizzing about, because it's always fun. Well, particularly when we're scoring. I mean, it's less fun when they're scoring, but you know what I mean. But let's have a good, open, competitive game.
And some of their tries, even though they're, when they've scored against us at certain times, they're still they do run it well and score well, and I'm hoping it's going to be a jolly good game on Friday. Jolly good.
I'm hoping so too. And then on Saturday, Bedford Blues, Goldington Road, Cambridge. They're having a bit of a tough time. Cambridge.
Are they?
The Blood and Sand is not having a great time. No, they're not having a good time. They lost to Hartbury, I think, on Saturday, because Blues didn't play because it would have been the
Jersey weekend
Reds trip. Apparently quite a few Bedford supporters went anyway. They just treated it as a holiday, and so various bars had a lot of blue shirts in. Well done to them for supporting the Jersey economy. But I'm hoping we get a great crowd, because I think it would be another. It won't be the Battle of Bedfordshire, because obviously one comes from Cambridgeshire and the other comes from Bedfordshire. But they're two very geographically close teams.
Yes.
And let's hope we get a good feisty battle, because I enjoyed the last game that I.
Because that
Goldington Road.
Whatever they're called.
That was Hartbury.
Yeah,
and Blues played really well.
But they're basically Gloucester's feeder side, aren't they? Yeah. So in the Championship, as far as I understand it, and please do correct us if I've got this wrong, Hartbury have the relationship with Gloucester. We obviously have the relationship with Bedford. London Scottish have the relationship with Harlequins, which is a bit strange because poor Scottish are not having a good time either. So there is a number of clubs who've built relationships with a Premiership club, and very wise I think it is too, because it gives them a chance to play, some of their a bit like us, some of their team that aren't getting, the young lads who aren't getting the chance to play, and the old lads, older shall I say, who are coming back from injury, being able to
And hopefully, you see, look, it's happened again. You just don't get this on the BBC when your headphone hits the deck.
So you've obviously got the wrong shaped ears.
I've got this wrong shaped head, I think. But anyway, but yeah, it's good to see, and the lads love playing for Mikey Raya. He's a great coach, and you listen to any of the Saints lads who've been coached by him, they have only positive things to say. So when the experience is that positive, then and actually, I think the squad that Bedford have built of their own players is pretty blooming impressive. They too are building a really good squad, which is great to see. And there's some old friends in there.
It's been a two-way
James Fish
thing.
and Ocean Heffernan and the like.
I was going to say it's been a two-way thing anyway, hasn't it, with the coaches? Because they're coached by Mikey Raya, but Ferg's gone down and helped as well, isn't it? So that
it's Jim King now. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's Jim King, who is one of our academy coaches, and he looks like all his Christmases at come at once. I think it's because he's got two wardrobes now. He's got a blue one, and he's got the grey Saints one. So one to wash and one to wear. And no, Jim is clearly enjoying himself working with the forwards.
So presumably
now that Sean McCarthy is retired,
there's a consistency then as well, so that when they play for Bedford, it's not that dissimilar to play. A lot of the moves and the setups will be similar to Saints. So when you're asking the young players to go from one to the other, it's not that they're having to relearn a whole different process. There are similar processes. So
exactly right. Yeah, no, and they learn loads, and they learn how to play in front of a crowd. I mean, people, a lot of Saints, some of the Saints youngsters made their adult rugby debuts at Bedford. Yeah. So we talk about the 18-year-old Henry Pollock. He actually did make his debut for Saints, but a lot of them, when it comes to adult rugby, they played their first adult rugby game in front of a Goldington Road crowd. And that is different. It's one thing to be playing in front of the mums and dads in the under-18s. It's quite another to be playing in front of, 2,500, 3,500 people playing adult rugby. And there's some big old lumps in the championship.
Oh, yes.
There's some lads who like, packing it on. And swatting the youngsters because they've been playing there for years. So it's good competitive rugby. It is, of course it is a slower pace, but it's high quality. It's very entertaining. Get yourself down to Goldington Road.
I love it. I like Goldington Road.
It's always entertaining. They're a lovely bunch. They're very welcoming. They love seeing Saints supporters down there, and
nice food as well.
Yeah, Gareth Aldred and Mikey Raya, run a slick business down there. So please do support them, because we need regional rugby to be looked after. And there's a load of history between the two clubs in a good way, unlike other clubs.
Well, we're going down to Somerset for a couple of days at the weekend.
Ooh.
To Wells. It's our wedding anniversary, so
a happy wedding anniversary. Well done. Yes.
So luckily, the game being on the Friday night means we've the weekend free. Not to do anything.
You got the weekend free, yeah. And then looking ahead. Yeah. Of course, we will cover this in next week's pod. Will you be heading to London to that place?
No, I've got no. We've got another engagement. We're involved with a Christmas lights turn on in Stony Stratford. So.
Oh well, you are the guest, are you? Oh, wow, Stony Stratford.
Me personally, I will be playing in a band.
Oh, in a band.
The Morris side.
Ah, the Morris.
The Morris.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, I'm sure we'll cover more about you and Morris. And
we will. Me and my Melodian playing. Yeah.
Yep. We will definitely cover that. So
I'd like to say there's no end to my talents, but there's barely a beginning, if I'm honest. So.
Not true, Mrs. Saunders. Go back to the lemon drizzle cake. And your sewing. The list is endless, Mrs. And you know it.
I've got French this evening. A French class this evening.
Have you? Oh.
Short story.
And we haven't even got French games for you to practice. Oh, look, there's your book and everything.
Yeah. So
well, I've got training photos from today.
I'm looking forward to Toulon coming, so I will track down the 4 French people who will be with them, and I will speak at them in French, which they may or may not understand. But,
Can I practice? Can I practice? Well, yes, and hopefully their photographer won't have the experience that the Racing. Well, I don't know whether he was from Racing, but he was certainly he was taking photos of Racing, and stupidly he wore a red hat, and he came to find me saying, am I okay to wear a red hat? And I said, why? What's happened? He said, one of your supporters told me off and told me I'm not allowed to wear a red hat. Said, if all you've got is a red hat, a chapeau rouge, wear your red hat with pride. Actually, I haven't mentioned the big news that happened at training today.
The special request.
The special request. I'm going to be wearing a red coat, everybody. Because Lizzie Goodchild, the team manager, said, I know you wear a red hat, but I can't see you. So for Lizzie's benefit, I'll be wearing a bright red jacket. You will be able to see me in outer space, probably. I was wearing it at training today. So it's not only the red hat, it's the red jacket now. The red brand is going a bit large in many ways. So, yes. So Lizzie will be able to see me from the tunnel on the touchline. And start arm waving which way the teams are playing. Because that is the key piece of information that Lizzie relays to me.
We will catch up on Friday, you and I then, pitch side.
Indeed, I shall see you pitch side. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again to everybody.
Yes, see you all again next week. Hopefully.
Yes.
As Terry Wogan used to say.
Episode 2 is done.
If we're spared. So.
If we're spared. Well, yes. And here's to a great game, is all I can say.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.